Our speakers today are with the Sealaska Heritage Institute, and they are Lee Kattinger, Chief Operations Officer, Sarah Dibdahl, the Administrative Director, and Christy Erickson, the Media and Publications Associate. We're going to be talking about the Walter Soboleff Center and the Art Gala for Sealaska Heritage. So please welcome our speakers.
All right, thank you everyone for welcoming us here today and allowing us time to present and inform you and educate you a little bit more about Sealaska Heritage Institute and a wonderful new project addition to downtown Juneau, the Walter Soboleff Center. What I'd like to start out with is Sarah Dibdahl, as Max mentioned, is our Administrative Director, and I'd like her to maybe take the first few slides so that way you don't have to listen to me the whole time, and just do a brief update on Sealaska Heritage Institute and some of the things we do.
Thank you, Lee. Slinkik Einach, Anshawaki Yuchat Duasak, Playkak Einach, Sarah Dibdahl Yuchat Duasak, Yeishna Hatsati, Tapwa Nadi Ayachat, Kakutsatanya Di Ayachat. My name is Sarah Dibdahl. As Lee stated, I'm the Administrative Director for Sealaska Heritage Institute, and I've had the pleasure of being able to work there and grow there as an individual for almost 7 years, and growing in different capacities. Sealaska Heritage Institute was formed in the 1980s by the direction of our elders through Sealaska Corporation, and the mission was to preserve and enhance and perpetuate the indigenous cultures of Southeast Alaska, the Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian. And over the years have just seen this organization as an individual but as an employee grow in the opportunities that we provide not only to the local community but to the region as a whole, something I'm very proud to be a part of. Currently, up here are the different departments that we have, and I'll just go through some of the main things that are happening. In our arts department, it's probably the department within our organization that has been growing the most, with a lot of focus on the art of Alaska Natives and the form line. A big project that we have right now is the Janae Art Academy, where we work with teachers in Juneau but also through the region and link them up with artists to work on the form line of the designs, the math behind it, how it can be incorporated in the classrooms. Also provide the artists an opportunity to learn how to work in a classroom, because one thing that you find is that you can be a great artist but may not have the skill set to work with kids, and so we're trying to create that bridge for both teachers and artists in the region. Other big programs that we have right now are focusing on endangered arts. One is, believe it or not, is moccasins, and we found that a lot of people weren't using sealskin as much as they used to, which was very traditional, and so we've been focusing on reintroducing the use of sealskins in our moccasins instead of kind of the fake leather, and it's been really successful and exciting to see people reincorporating some of those skills. Our archivals and ethnographic collection is led by Zach Jones, and he's done a fabulous job of getting materials that otherwise wouldn't be available to the public. We are currently now linked to the Juneau Library System, and he's, through his research and hard work, been able to identify and locate documents for the public to be able to read, and historic documents on our indigenous people. The Culture and History Department focuses on working with our elders, the Council of Traditional Scholars, but we also like to work and focus on our work with our youth, and one of the things that we do is the Schlitzing Leadership Academy, where we bring kids throughout the region here to Juneau for 2 weeks every summer. And It provides them an opportunity not only to be on campus, to get the skill sets and knowledge of what it's like to be on a campus, but also to infuse it with cultural knowledge and to show them that you can do both. You can be very strong academically and you can also excel culturally, and that it does work. And so that's one program that I've helped develop over the last 6 years, and it's amazing to see what comes of it with our students when they're brought here to Juneau, and it's not so scary coming from a rural community. They see that they can actually go on the campus and succeed. And just to wrap it up, our education department, we have 4 major grants right now in the education department. One is working on cultural orientation in the Juneau School District, and it works at providing opportunities to further the knowledge of our teachers about the Alaska Native history and working in developing curriculum about the indigenous populations. And then our media and publications that Christy does such a fabulous job of doing is keeping us out there as far as stories and our opportunities and our programs and all these wonderful documents that you guys have here today. And I'll turn it over to Lee, but that's just a brief overview of some of our programs. Thank you.
Well, and I'd encourage all of you as well. We have sites on Facebook, Twitter. I can't even go through, I can't keep up with all these new things, but I know we have a lot of them. So I really encourage you to find us on there and to keep tabs on us. We probably could have Sarah stand up here for over an hour and talk more in depth of the various programs that we offer, but it really offers unique opportunities. It offers exciting opportunities, and we're always doing things differently, and we're trying to be innovative. One of those innovative things is the Walter Soboleff Center. This was really a vision that came about roughly 20 years ago that we identified we were growing as an organization, formed, as Sarah mentioned, in 1980 with a $200,000 budget. This year our budget is 13.5, I believe, million. So significantly larger, growing over time. Managed with 20 employees. We utilize roughly 60 contractors throughout the region. So we're very complex as an organization and growing. As Laureen will attest, when she was in Sealaska offices, we had this thing called SHI creep, where we continued to grow and we kept knocking down walls and our offices would get bigger and bigger, and it seemed like every year we moved closer and closer to them. And we got so big that all of a sudden we had no more room. Our archives and our ethnographic collections, we really have some of the world's most amazing treasures hidden and tucked away inside at Sealaska Heritage Institute. For those of you that are familiar with NAGPRA, Native American Graves Repatriation Act, more or less is a law that allows items to be brought back. Many years ago, some things were removed from grave sites and removed in different ways, and so it allows us for them to be brought back to Southeast. We've done that. We've been very successful at doing that, and we've got some amazing treasures from it. Items from the 1800s that have been held in the Peabody Essex Museum. I believe we got 36 items back from there. It's just an amazing collection. One interesting piece that we added about 1.5 years or 2 years ago was a shell, a 55 millimeter shell, I believe, from the bombardment of Cake, when the U.S. military bombarded the village of Cake. Not too many people know about it, but it happened. There was a shell that was found. It had powder in it. We had to bring people up to take the powder out, but we have preserved this shell, and along with it we have the diaries of an individual that was on the boat actually bombing the village of Cake, and we have individual accounts that were in the community. So this is just one little small snippet of the very interesting things that we feel we have to offer the community of Juneau, that right now we don't have the space, we don't have the real platform to do that, and that's what the Walter Soboleff Center is going to offer us, is this ability to bring the community in and to educate them about things that have happened and things that we have, and the wonderful art that we have as well. So I'll move on. If I get too lengthy, just somebody prod me to keep moving on. I really like to show this picture because, well, I walk past it for about 6 years every morning to get coffee. Some of you may recall this as well. But when walk past this every morning, really looked at it, and instead of looking and focusing on the garbage in the bottom or the sides falling in, what we looked at is potential for an opportunity to fulfill a dream that we've had for 20 years, an opportunity to build something. And we ran with that about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, and really began the design and planning process for what is now the Walter Sobolov Center. On the very lowest level of the building, we have more or less a secure, climate-controlled collections and archival space that has the ability to continue to hold our growing collections, but also we have off-site storage right now where we have a significant amount of collections off-site. We have on-site storage. It allows us to bring everything into one, so when we have researchers visit, they have the ability to access everything in one-stop shopping without having to run around to different storage sites. That's an interesting part of our program is our visiting researchers. A lot of people may not be so familiar with it, but we've had multiple researchers from Oxford University come and they stay with us. We provide them office space and they focus on, one of the projects they're focusing on was biomass, utilizing biomass as an industry for heating in Southeast Alaska. They came, we provide them information, we work with them to get to know people in the Southeast region. And another project we had working on was with, was it Tom Thornton? Tom Thornton. So we have individuals come, work with us, stay with us, utilize our collections, study our collections, and this space on the lowest level will provide the protections we need to ensure that those items are there in another 200 years and ensure that people can study and learn from them. The first floor, one of the main features you're going to see when you walk into the Walter Sobolov Center is a traditional clan house. There's none in Juneau anymore. There used to be. There's none in Juneau anymore. If you've been to some of the smaller communities, you may have been to some. But this will provide the first traditional clan house, well, the only traditional clan house today, I should say, not the first. But it'll provide space for dancing, it'll provide space for storytelling, it'll provide family space. We'll have evening programs going on where families can come downtown in year-long to learn and to enjoy the different programs that we're offering. There's also a gift shop on the first floor that's more or less a revenue component of the facility to help it pay for itself. There's an exhibit area as well that's open to the public to be able to learn about those fascinating stories I mentioned earlier. There's an outdoor carving area as well as an indoor carving area and artist residence spaces. The second floor is mostly SHI office spaces. There's a large living history center, which will be an open space that can be utilized by community groups or interested businesses or individuals that need the ability to have video conferencing, that just want to have space to have a meeting. The Living History Center will also have teleconferencing and video conferencing capabilities, but it'll be able to seat between 50 and 100 people depending upon the seating arrangement. So it's a relatively large size room, about the size of this, a little bit smaller. On the third floor, it's open space for office rental, but more importantly, what it is it's our 30-year plan. In 30 years, when we're outgrowing our space right now, we can begin to take rental space that we've been renting over the past 30 years and transform it into program space. So that way, it works for us for the next 30 to 50 to 70 years rather than having to build up or build again. So it really helps meet an immediate need as it'll provide some revenues through rental to help offset the cost of maintaining and running the building. But in the long term, it really helps fit our growth needs in our long-term projections. Economic impacts, as I mentioned, SHI roughly has 20 employees right now. We raise roughly 1.5 million donations each year from over 680 different individuals, businesses, and corporations. We receive roughly $2 million a year in grant funding. Most of that is federal. The Walter Soboleff Center project is going to add 5 immediate full-time positions to our staff and additional employment opportunities as we continue to expand. The Walter Soboleff Center construction project will add 65 direct construction jobs for roughly 2 years and 30 indirect jobs for 2 years, equating to a total overall economic impact of $27 million during the duration of the construction project. The project will cost a total of $20 million to complete, of which we have a little over $17.5 million already secured. Some of those sources are listed up here: State of Alaska, City and Borough of Juneau, Alaska Native Education Program, Sea Alaska Corporation, Rasmussen Foundation, Murdoch, Art Place. Art Place was a national competition. 1,300 people applied. We were one of 30 or 40 selected, so very competitive. Doyon Corporation, Cruise Ship Charitable Foundation, and again over 80 different individuals and businesses that have contributed to the campaign so far. On August 1st was our groundbreaking ceremony, and it was an exciting time, kind of the culmination of years worth of work and effort. Immediately began to start digging, so these are some of the pictures during the progress there. Taking out all the fill that we put in 4 years earlier and digging that back out again, and then beginning to pour the foundation. So this is a picture back in August, September when they were beginning to pour the foundation. Now the foundation on this building, I don't want to let too many people know the secret, so it's between us, but if there's ever a massive flood, I think this thing is going to float. Because it has so many waterproofing features built into it. Concrete is amazingly thick, over 2.5 feet thick of concrete on the bottom to prevent any shifting or anything like that from happening. So it's really been designed in a bulletproof standard, and it's also been designed to LEED Gold certifications. So it really is the most environmentally friendly facility as well. This is today's update. Those of you downtown see steel starting to go up. It's moving very quickly. We have a very aggressive construction schedule. Not too many $20 million facilities are built in a 1.5, 2 year time frame, but we're doing what we can to try to make that happen. The foundations has been poured, it's done. Now the steel's going up. By mid-January, you're going to see more or less the overall structure, the framework, in all of its glory, showing the size of the facility. So I think it'll be really inspiring to be able to see what's going to be there. And so I thought I'd share with today's update. With that, I guess I don't want to go into too much more detail, but if anybody has any specific questions, I'd be glad to take them before I turn it over to our wonderful assistant, Christy, to talk about another topic.
Lee, can you talk about sea otters?
Can I talk about sea otters? Well, sure, maybe really briefly. SHI has a program that is under our arts project, more or less that's been focusing on the utilization of sea otters. Sea otters were worked with for thousands of years with indigenous peoples here in Southeast, and then obviously we know the Russians kind of took care of that problem and took a lot of them out of the ecosystem, so they were extinct from Southeast Alaska until 1970, 1967 maybe, somewhere in there, when the Department of Fish and Game reintroduced them. But in all that time, when there weren't any sea otters here, all the knowledge on how to work with them was kind of lost. You don't have people passing it on to the next generation because they're not there. So what we've been working on is reintroducing that through moccasin classes. We also have classes where they're learning how to sew a sea otter, making hats, making scarves, jackets, blankets, you name it. We also work on it from a policy perspective. been heavily involved in the definition called significantly altered, and what does that mean? That was a great concern. Imagine trying to start a business and they tell you, well, we're not exactly certain what you can make, but just start making stuff. We'll tell you then if it's okay to keep making them. So that it created an amazing amount of uncertainty with individuals that are out in small communities that just want to make some handicrafts, but we're not getting the answers they would like, whether or not they can be sold legally. And so now we have a definition that we feel, for the most part, pretty comfortable with, that we can work with, and that it clarifies that some of these items can be made and can be sold, and there's not going to be anybody arrested for creating a teddy bear. It happened. There's not going to be anybody arrested for making a vest with a zipper on. It happened. And we're able to begin to make things and be able to allow people to make just a small amount of money to help pay their heating oil and those type of things. So we are doing a lot in that field. I don't know how much time we have here, a little bit of time, but we are doing a lot in that, and now we're helping with the marketing side of it. Christy's actually been working on a page on her website that will help individuals market their goods to a broader audience. We're working with other groups to help sell some of those items in their retail shops in the summer times. So those are all, I guess, a touch of the things that we're doing, and we feel it's important to be done in a sustainable manner. And so we also work closely with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to ensure that the areas that we're encouraging individuals to harvest from have significant populations that can sustain that type of harvest, rather than focusing harvest in areas that have very small, unsustainable populations. Like the Aleutians, for one, is one area where there's a declining population. So we really believe that it can be a sustainable project, and that it can be something that is a win-win. A win insofar as the Native community and allowing individuals to make some revenue, and another win for commercial fishing industry, or fishing industries that right now some of the extremely growing populations are having an impact on. So we think by pairing those two together, we can have some mutually beneficial solutions.
Thank you.
Sure.
We're getting started on all
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the completion date are you shooting for the Civil Health Center? When will be the grand opening, do you think?
Sure, it will be completed, mark my words, by January 2015. So roughly a year from now, it'll be done. And grand opening, we're probably going to work some of the kinks out, and we'll probably end up doing a grand opening around April sometime. By the time it takes us to move in and get everything up and running, we'd like to have a few months of leeway there. So I'm thinking around March, April of 2015 is probably going to be the grand opening.
Actually, I have a quick question. The other building you guys converted to biomass. Are you guys going to be doing something similar to this one?
Yes, this building will be heated with biomass as well.
Oh, just one last thing. I just, on behalf of the community and the visitor community as well, just so grateful and thankful to see Alaska for filling that in and turning it into what was really a lovely space downtown, and sparing us having to wait until you got the building built before. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, it was, we felt it was the right thing to do. We felt it was an important thing to do, and it was well worth the $100,000 investment to fill it and decorate it for a few years. So, all right. If I could, I'd like to introduce Christy Erickson. She is our media assistant, and she's also the project director for the Tana Art Auction. I'd like to have her.
I get to talk about our party. A big party in February. But before I talk about the party, I just want to say thank you so much for letting us come here and talk to you today. As I was sitting there listening to my colleagues talk about our programs, which we never do at work, right? We're all just like working, working, working. It's good to be reminded, I think, of all the work that we're doing. And it's good to be reminded in front of all of you, which I think is like a slice of the community, right? Just hearing everybody's introductions was a good reminder about how connected we are as a community, you know, and all those programs that Sarah was talking about, we have a staff of less than 20 that do all of that. And I think that's amazing, and I know I'm talking to a crowd, I'm preaching to the choir, because I'm sure every one of you are like, oh my God, all the things I do with a staff of 2, right? Kathy's like on her own, brought in her niece from Washington, from pharmacy, right? So I know that we are all out there hustling a ton at our own jobs, but as they were saying all that, and I was thinking about our small staff, I was thinking, we also didn't get to this place alone, right? I was thinking about the Empire, how much the Empire has helped us really promote our events. Mertz, LG Rayfeld Mertz are part of our team. We've got them doing our finance. Probably everything I make, I sent to Alaska Litho. So I was like, oh, Jomer, what's that guy look like? You know, so anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having us here, and thanks for all the work that you're doing, and I think we didn't get here alone, and we definitely aren't going to get where we want to be alone. So that's kind of part of why we came, is to just give you an update about that, and to tell you about this party, and that's why we're throwing a party. That's why we're inviting the community, and really trying to celebrate something that we think is really creating an emergence into our position as really being a strong community member in this town. I think, especially as a non-native, coming to work at Sealaska Heritage, sometimes it feels like you're kind of like they're kind of doing their own work, right? It feels like we're in our own bubble, producing work for our own people. But that's actually not true. We're doing a lot of work in the community, not just for shareholders, but for non-natives as well. Opening up our form line classes, trying to train artists so that they'll go into the schools and work for everybody, teach all of our children. And these are the type of programs that we're doing, and now it's my job in media to send the message to everybody that we are a community organization, right? We are not just working just for Native people, we're working for all of Juneau, all of Alaska. And so the Tana Art Auction is our first major big public fundraiser, and it's on February 1st. What we're doing is we've asked our artists to donate pieces of their work to help, that we can sell off at our auction and help raise funds for the Walter Soboleff Center. And when we did this, we started planning. I made a big ad, and we actually didn't even have any art yet, right? And we put out the call to our artists, and the response was incredible. We have basically all of our master artists are donating, and they're not just donating like a small carving. Actually, they told us that. They were like, I'll give you a piece this big if you want it next month, which was our original kind of deadline. And we gave them a year to create stuff, and now we have, I'm going to show you some slides, we have things like a canoe, right? Robert Davidson has given us this huge painting. You know, I can barely get my arms around a plaque that TJ Young has given us, somebody who's been apprenticing with Robert Davidson as well. So the work that we've received has been incredible, and I take it as a symbol of the appreciation and gratitude that our artists and our communities have for the work that we are doing. And now we are going to showcase it for our community to really show them the things that we are most proud of, and ask that you celebrate those things with us, and hopefully want to take some home to show the support that you have for the work that we're doing, and for the building project as a whole. So I just brought some slides just to tease you, basically. So just so you know the details, I always often forget to say those things. February 1st, 2014, somebody emailed me to tell me I didn't write what time it was on the website. So I'm going to fix that tomorrow. But it's at 4:30. We're going to have a silent auction reception, and then we're going to have dinner. We are going to have a fashion show, right? Because everyone in Juneau loves fashion shows. That's the new thing to do. But ours is going to be a traditional to modern indigenous fashion show. And then we'll have the live auction pieces with some of these spectacular items that we've received, again, on complete donation from artists. So just to prove my point, I brought some pictures. TJ Young, that's like 5 inches up there, but it's actually this big. Okay, What Have We Become by Nicholas Glennon. Do you guys know Nicholas Glennon? Yeah? He's very handsome, isn't he? Nicholas Glennon, this is a popular modern piece that he has, What Have We Become? Louise Kadinger, actually the lovely wife of Lee, is an incredible fur artist, and she is donating this very large sea otter blanket. It has a type of material, is it sheared? Sheared sea otter, which actually, because of the changing policies, is no longer allowed. So you won't be able to see a blanket quite like this for some time, until Lee gets on the phone, I guess, giving his spiel to a few more people. We got Preston Singletary. Have you guys heard of Preston Singletary? It's okay if you haven't, because I just learned about all these artists recently too, so that's no big deal. But Preston Singletary is a Tlingit artist down in Seattle, and he's doing phenomenal things with glass. And this is a totem about this high that he's blown and engraved with sand. Dwayne Bosch is a local artist, and he's given us this killer whale war helmet. David Boxley, Tsimshian artist, a master Tsimshian artist, has given us this bentwood chest. It's like this big. Okay, I could almost fit inside it. Not that you should get any ideas. It was actually, the box itself was made by his son Zach Boxley, and then he carved and painted it, and then also has those. What are those called? Percula stone set inside it as well. Robert Davidson, master Haida artist, has given us. He was so excited. He was like, I have a new concept I've been wanting to try for a while. And I was like, great, can I tell the world? Can I announce that you're going to be donating? And he was like, well, I have to figure out the concept first. I was like, okay, so I've totally been put in my place by Robert Davidson now. But he finished the painting, sent me this photo on his iPhone, and I've been so proud of him sharing this iPhone photo with the world. Greatest Echo piece, it's a spirits piece. And then Fred Bemis is actually donating a canoe, he says, on behalf of the entire village of Yakutat. So just wrap your mind around that. How many of us have ever donated a canoe on behalf of our village? No, right? He's been working on this for about 5 years? Yeah, and it's actually still being finished. That's how freshly done this canoe will be. This is a rare type of river canoe that we don't see often. We probably won't see often after that as well. So like I said, just some astounding pieces, if nothing else. You should at least get to come and get an up-close look at them. I also put some of our silent auction items because we're limiting our live auction, not because we don't have spectacular pieces, but just because we don't want you to be there all night long, right? It's not a kuik. It's just going to be a gala event. And so we also are having to put some really great pieces just in the silent auction. And so just to give you a sampling of that, a paddle, a sun catcher. The collar that you see right there is based off of a Sitka petroglyph. Tennis, block print, masks, hats, weavings, glass sculpture by Crystal Worrell, among dozens others. So that's silent auction. So let's talk money. Individual tickets to the event are $150. This is a limited seating event. We only have 300 seats, 30 tables total. And tickets are not yet public. I'm going to announce that tomorrow in a press release. So you're getting actually the advance notice a little bit about the tables and seating. I went around and I put information about the art auction on everybody's seats. If you didn't get one, of course I've got more. But that'll give you a breakdown of the actual benefits depending on the different table prices, as well as a save the date card. If you'd like me to send you an invitation too, if you're into physical invitations, just give me a card afterwards and I can make sure that you get one. Our sponsorships are $2,500 to $10,000 a table. You'll get 10 tickets per table. If you'd like to sit with an artist, though, because we have many artists who come, you can donate 2 of your seats to an artist, and then an artist and their guests would be placed at the table with you. We'll have complimentary wine. Of course, we'll give you tons and tons of recognition. That's one thing we're really great at. And our top table sponsors will also receive Tana gifts. The Tana is the symbol that you see on the Save the Date card. It's shaped kind of like an hourglass. And that's a symbol of wealth and trade in Southeast Native culture. And it's a symbol that we wanted to use in our auction because what often happened is when you would give it to somebody, it would be worth more than the actual value of the piece. And so we wanted to kind of think about, one, that sense of reciprocity that we have with the community and the community have with us, and the idea of creating something, having something more valuable than the actual physical thing. that we're holding. So that's the Tana Art Auction. There's registration forms as well in case you're interested in registering right here on the spot. But otherwise, you can feel free to get a hold of any of us after the meeting today or in the next coming week. Thank you so much for letting us talk today.